Hello, good evening, and welcome back. This evening we're going over the events which have been going on for the last 6 weeks, I believe, in Birmingham with LGBT lessons for their primary school children. So this is primaries and first school. Very young children who are being taught about LGBT relationships in an attempt to be more accepting of the community. There has been pushback from a variety of people, swaths of people, saying that things like sexuality and sexual relations should be taught by parents and not schools. But as we see with the increase in the state becoming more maternalistic and trying to be more mothering, then the school has further and further reach. And we have also, of course, seen reports of, especially in Canada, the proposition for children to be taken away from their parents if they express desires to be a different gender from who they are, and the parents don't agree with the child because they are a child, and most people do grow out of wanting to be a different gender than the one they were born in. Personally, of course, I do believe in only two genders, and I might use sex and gender interchangeably because I do see them as predominantly the same. I do understand the argument against it, that sex is biological and gender is mental. More ways than one. So this is from the 20th of May, but we have a whole host of articles, a whole slew of them. So Birmingham LGBT lessons. Head teacher threatened. Here she is. Her head teacher at a primary school giving lessons on LGBT equality has received threatening emails and phone calls. And this is only making the news because the protesters are Muslim from an Islamic background, and therefore, of course, it's difficult. Owen Jones is going to face difficulty in deciding who he wishes to back up, if it's going to be the LGBT community or if it's going to be the Muslim community, because obviously these are conflicting ideologies. So, police are investigating messages sent to Sarah Hewitt Clarkson at Anston Park Primary School in Birmingham. 7 weeks of protest outside the site from which hundreds of pupils were kept away on Monday, 600 to be more precise. The complaints at Anderton Park, mainly from Muslim protesters, focus on lessons which pupils have been given, books featuring cross-dressing children and gay families. The protest leader says that amounts to social engineering. And here we see that railings at Anderton Park Primary School have been adorned with heart-shaped messages of support. These are done overnight because the parents of the pupils, in fact, the protests are led by one individual man who does not have children at the school, but nonetheless he is there to raise awareness. And so when the Muslim families and community goes away during the night, the LGBT community come out and put up flags and hearts. And of course, supporters of the LGBT community may not be them themselves. But this is the particularly interesting thing for me. Ms. Hewitt Clarkson said of the protests, there's a whole variety of emotions. Embarrassment for lots of our community and our parents who think this is just awful what's happening, frustration that it's going on so long, frustration that great British laws like you can protest peacefully actually are causing us a problem. That's the interesting bit for me, saying that peaceful protest is not acceptable anymore. So it's the slippery slope argument, isn't it, that saying that now even peaceful protests aren't permitted. Jess Phillips even joined in, seeing as she is the MP of Birmingham, but that might be in a different article. She described the scene in the Sparkle area of the city as very loud, it's very aggressive, it's tiresome. And she was meeting with lots of parents, a series of 12 meetings set up between now and the end of June. Denied a claim from some parents that she is Islamophobic, saying she believed in equality for everybody. Well, this is the issue, isn't it? That now you understand where other people are coming from. And it's one of those interesting things where you might have, let's say, a community of 100 people. They build a fence around them to protect them from the outside world, whatever, this is just a thought experiment. And then within that group of 100, they'll find a few people they don't like, maybe 5 people, push them on the outside. So you've got 95 on the inside, 5 on the outside. And then go, okay, cool, well, we got rid of those extremists, but now we're going to include more people in what we define as extremism, so we always have an enemy. We're going to push out those 5 people. And we're going to keep pushing people out until there are 51 people outside, 49 inside, and then you've just boxed yourself in, and you're the minority, and you might keep pushing people out, but other people are just going to leave because they'd rather get on with something else. And the original protest activity will destroy itself because there's nobody left because they've pushed out everybody, which is obviously happening. And an example of that was Farage not liking Tommy Robinson and then being hit with a milkshake as well, because he's been tarred with the same brush So hopefully people then who are misrepresented by the media, like him, would then understand that maybe what they thought about other people is not true, because again, it's just what they've heard in the media. And in England, relationships education will be compulsory for all primary pupils from September 2020. All the more reason to homeschool, as far as I'm concerned. Now here we go. Shakil Afzar is the leader of the Anderton Park protest, although there is no children at the school. And there are 600 pupils kept from school on Monday. To make it crystal clear, we will not have our children indoctrinated or participating in any social engineering programs which undermine our family values by promoting child sexualization. Obviously, this comes from a religion where you can marry a child, but don't promote child sexualization. No. Don't be branded a hypocrite either. Of course not. But it does get violent, as we see. West Midlands Police is investigating the threats against Monsieur Clarkson. Officers were also looking into disorder outside the school in which eggs were thrown at the counter-protesters of the LGBT community. And the force said it was investigating 3 reports of assault and 2 of criminal damage. And Mr. Afzal was involved in a stand-up disagreement with Jess Phillips, Labour MP for Birmingham Yardley. And she says that she wants to have an exclusion zone around the school, and the police are also looking into it. Here we are, a public space protection order. The leader of Birmingham City Council said if a public space protection order is not appropriate, then we will look at alternative options, because the children and staff at Anderton Park have a right to attend school without this daily disruption, which is to basically say, yes, we're going to put in something into our school which you don't like, and you're not allowed to protest against it because we know better, which is tyrannical in my view, at least. But I did think it interesting that, of course, these come from no-go zones in Birmingham, which are predominantly Pakistani by ethnicity. And here we have from just yesterday, police cracked down tonight, so yesterday night, or yesterday, on Balsley Green school kids over yob behaviour. And they say they've got police using extra powers to move on gangs of youth tonight after a spate of yob behaviour during half-term. The tweet said, from 3 to 7 tonight, officers will be enforcing a Section 35 dispersal order in Balsley Green. This gives officers the power to move individuals in the attached map area on in anticipation of disorder, antisocial behaviour or violence. And as we do see here, they are at work. If you wish to make an observation of the people that they are investigating, then that is up to you. I was thinking they can pixelate faces, but they could just put a black blob over if they'd rather hide the ethnicity of the people, of course. Extra patrols have been put in place in the area over the last year following a number of incidents, including stabbings and other violence. Stop and search powers were also deployed in and around Dale End. And a dispersal order was enforced in Harborne and Quinton after a teenager was stabbed to death in Tennell Road last month. The 18-year-old was attacked in the street near Harborne Golf Course. There is clearly a problem here, you see, within Islamic communities teaching family values. Well, if the young people are getting involved in gangs and stabbings and violence, then there is definitely a problem. But it doesn't stop there. No, of course not. Because in London, in Islington, I know it's not Birmingham, but still. Here we have, this is Councillor Lakia Ismail. She's the UK's first Somali-born female mayor, and is thought to be the first mayor to wear a hijab. They say it's a mostly ceremonial role, but of course we have seen with Sadiq Khan as Mayor of London the increase in violent crimes, stabbings and acid attacks that seems to happen if you don't apply the law equally. And that is a big concern. If you give people special protections, like giving well, of course, the reason being here that you've got the LGBT community and the Muslims clashing over differences in ideology, and thankfully, finally, it seems to be fracturing, and it should come crumbling down to say that, hey, we should allow individual rights to everybody, not allow group rights, and apply the law equally to everybody as an individual. Nobody is above the law, nobody gets special privileges because of their ethnicity, their gender, their sexual orientation, or any of that. But that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I will see you next time.